Assalamu alaikum girls. How are you? Hopefully all of you are fine and doing well. Today is my second lecture about the chemical equilibrium, unit number 10. Now, what are the conditions for the equilibrium? There are the three conditions on which the equilibrium depends. Equilibrium will remain intact if three conditions are fulfilled. First one is the concentration of the reactant or product remain unchanged. It means you cannot change the reactant or concentration of the product. If they are unchanged, equilibrium will remain established. Second condition is temperature of the system remain constant. You know girls that Kc expression, equilibrium constant, it depends on the temperature. So if temperature remain constant, equilibrium will be remain the same. But if you will change the temperature, then equilibrium values will also be changed. Third one is the pressure or volume of the system remain constant. So if you change the pressure or volume of the reactant or the product, again the equilibrium will change. It will not remain the same. What are the ways to recognize the equilibrium? There are many different ways in which we can recognize the equilibrium has been reached or not, but the most easiest or the simplest method in which we can recognize the equilibrium, that is the physical method or the chemical method. In the physical method, it includes the spectroscopic method, and chemical method include the titration method, and you will do it in experiment. Spectroscopic method, you will learn about this in the higher classes. Now, how will you determine the units of the equilibrium constant or the Kc expression? Here you can see that I have given the two reactions. First one is the reaction of hydrogen and iodine, and product is the iodic acid. Hydrogen and iodine, these are two reactants. H2 and I2, these are two reactants, and 2HI iodic acid formed, it is our product. And this 2 with the iodic acid indicating the number of the moles. First of all, you will write down the Kc expression for this. In Kc expression, you always write down the product in the numerator and reactants in the denominator. I think now you can easily write down the Kc expression for this. And when you will write down the Kc expression, you know that the concentration we always mention in moles per decimeter cube. So when you first you have write down the concentrations or Kc expressions, now put the values of their concentration. For that, iodic acid raised to the power 2. So when you will write down it in the form of the concentration, you will write down the mole per decimeter cube raised to the power 2 or square of this value, divided by the concentration of the hydrogen, mole per decimeter cube, and concentration of the iodine, it will also write down in the mole per decimeter cube in the denominator. Now this raised to the power 2, it can be cancelled out, as you can see here clearly, and finally we will find the Kc expression for this reaction, hydrogen and iodine, product is the iodic acid. This Kc expression do not have any unit because all the values in the numerator and denominator, they have cancelled out each other. In the second case, you can see that dinitrogen tetroxide is converted into the nitrogen dioxide. This dinitrogen tetroxide is our reactant and nitrogen dioxide is our product, and number of moles of the nitrogen dioxide are 2. First, you will write down the Kc expression for this nitrogen dioxide in the numerator and nitrogen tetroxide in the denominator, and nitrogen dioxide as indicating the number of moles are 2, so its concentration will raise to the power 2. When you will write down instead of the nitrogen dioxide in concentration units, that is the mole per decimeter cube raised to the power 2, and nitrogen tetroxide, again it has the one number of moles, so you will write down 1 time mole per decimeter cube. Now when these values will cancel out each other, you can see clearly that only mole per decimeter cube remain in the numerator. That will be our Kc unit for this given expression. Now in this reaction, nitric oxide and oxygen, they combine together and produce the nitrogen dioxide. Nitric oxide and oxygen, these are our reactant, and nitrogen dioxide is our product. First you will write down the Kc expression for this. Nitrogen dioxide in the numerator, nitric oxide and oxygen in the denominator, because these are the reactants, and number of moles are written in the form of the powers. Now you will write down the concentration units for each, and these concentration units in the last, you can see they cancel out the effect of each other, and as a result we got 1 over mole per decimeter cube. This 1 over mole per decimeter cube, the concentration unit you can see here in the denominator. So when we will write down the Kc unit for this Kc, we will reverse this value. When we will reverse the value, this mole per decimeter cube, after reversion it will become the decimeter cube per mole, and it will be the Kc unit for this reaction. What is the importance of equilibrium constant? In the chemistry, this equilibrium constant is very important because it is very helpful in determining the equilibrium concentration of equilibrium mixture, knowing the initial concentration of the reactants. It means if we know the initial concentration of the reactant, we can calculate what will be the concentration of the reactant and product at the equilibrium state. When equilibrium has been established, what will be the amount of the reactant and what will be the amount of the product. In the same way, we can find out or we can predict the direction of the chemical reaction. By this expression, by this Kc value, we can find out that whether our chemical reaction is going towards the forward direction, means our product will be more, or it will go towards the reverse direction, our reactant will be more. Third point is the predict the extent of a chemical reaction. Extent of the chemical reaction means we can determine by this Kc value that to what extent that chemical reaction has been near to completion. You know that reversible reactions are never go to the completion. By knowing the Kc value or equilibrium constant value, we can find out or predict the extent of our chemical reaction, that at equilibrium state we can have more amount of the reactant or we can have more amount of the product. And last point is predict the effect of change in conditions of the chemical reaction on the equilibrium state. Equilibrium only established when temperature, pressure, volume and concentrations remain the same, remain the constant. If you change anything in one of them, equilibrium state will change. So by changing the conditions, we can predict the effect of these changes on the equilibrium state. What is Le Chatelier's principle? Le Chatelier was a scientist first find out the effect of different changes over this equilibrium expression, and according to him, if you impose a change in concentration, temperature or pressure on a chemical system at equilibrium, the system responds in a way that opposes the change. It means if you change any condition, you change the concentration or you change the temperature or you change the pressure, what will happen to that chemical system? the system will respond in a way to minimize the effect of this change. For example, here two examples are given to you. First one is the formation of ammonia from nitrogen and hydrogen. You can see the reaction nitrogen plus hydrogen, these combine together to produce the ammonia. And second reaction is the reaction of sulfur dioxide and oxygen to produce the sulfur trioxide. Both these reactions are reversible reactions. It means as the product is formed, ammonia is formed, it again decomposes into its reactants or into its constituent, that is a nitrogen and hydrogen. In the same way, when sulfur trioxide is formed, it again decomposes into the sulfur dioxide and oxygen. Both these reactions are very important. Ammonia is used a very important fertilizer and in the formation of the nitric acid. In the same way, sulfur trioxide is used in the formation of the sulfuric acid. So, on industrial level, these two reactions are very important. In the formation of the ammonia, now what happens? We want to get the maximum amount of the ammonia from this reaction, but the reaction is reversible. Our product formed and again it changed into its reactants, so it becomes difficult to get more amount of the ammonia or required amount of the ammonia. So what we do, we just add the iron. It acts as the catalyst in this reaction. Below you can see that I have written the iron, and temperature is 400 degrees centigrade and atmospheric pressure is 200. So we change this normal condition, and we put here the more you can say the we want to get maximum amount of the ammonia. For this purpose, we will add the catalyst. We will change the temperature. At high temperature and high pressure, we can get more amount of the ammonia. In this way, we use this Le-Chatelier principle to get more amount of the ammonia, because we have changed the conditions. Now the conditions are not the normal as in the above reaction. We have added the catalyst. It will reduce the time of conversion of reactants into the product, and in the same way increases the temperature and the pressure. It will help in the formation of ammonia, and it will decrease the formation of the nitrogen and hydrogen from this ammonia. And in case of the second reaction, that sulfur dioxide and oxygen gives us the sulfur trioxide. In the formation of the sulfuric acid, it is a very important reaction. Again, it is a reversible reaction. As soon as this sulfur trioxide is formed, it will again decompose into the sulfur dioxide and oxygen. So what we should do to get the maximum amount of this sulfur trioxide, we will add the catalyst, that is the vanadium pentoxide, and increase the temperature, that is almost 450 degrees centigrade and 200 atmospheric pressure, high pressure. So when we will apply these conditions, we can get the maximum amount of the sulfur trioxide for the formation of the sulfuric acid. So this Le-Chatelier principle is very important to find out the different industrial products, or to get maximum amount of the industrial products from these reversible reactions. As in the previous slide, I have told you that we add the catalyst. So what is the catalyst? A catalyst is a substance which increases the rate of the chemical reaction. So when we add the catalyst in a chemical reaction, what happens? Speed of the reaction increases, and catalyst reduce the time taken to reach the equilibrium. So when the reaction speed of the reaction increases, equilibrium will established easily and early, but they have no effect on the position of equilibrium. Catalysts do not have any effect on the position of equilibrium. Once this is reached, means once the equilibrium has been established, this catalyst will have no effect over that equilibrium. only catalyst increases the rate of the chemical reaction and equilibrium established in an easy way. What are the macroscopic properties of the forward and the reverse reactions? Macroscopic properties, the main characters of that. So forward reaction, it is written from left to right, and reverse reaction written from right to left. In case of the forward reaction, reactants produce the products, and in case of reverse reaction, what happened? Product again decompose into it, the reactants, means the product will produce the reactants. And third point is, in case of the forward reaction, rate is far faster in the beginning and gradually slows down. You have seen that in the beginning our reactants are in very large amount. It means the forward reaction will be faster in the beginning, more product will be formed. And in case of the reverse reaction, its rate is 0 in the beginning. Why its rate is 0 in the beginning? Because at that time our product is in the formation process. So once the product is formed, then it will be gradually speeds up the reverse reaction. So in case of reverse reaction, its rate is 0 in the beginning and gradually it speed up. When more amount of the product is formed, automatically it will be decomposed into its reactants, so the reverse reaction gradually speeds up.